Okay, it says we're live. Here, let's wait. Let's wait. Like, want to wait like 2 minutes or so before we get started?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, but I'm gonna tweet out that we are live. But I have to like go back and crop this shit. See studio. Okay, JJ, you got everything set up?
Pretty much.
Okay, sweet. Sorry guys, if you're in here, this is our first time doing this, and we just want to make sure that this shit is not messed up. I'm gonna click that link in the tweet I sent. Okay, it says we're live.
All right, bet.
Okay, we got it.
All right, bet.
Oh, dude, that's what it'll be echoing. Okay, hold up. I'm gonna quick retweet it, and then yeah, dude. Let's say at 6:35 we'll start like officially talking and stuff like that.
That's fine.
Okay.
There's a lot of people to get in here.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, dude. I'm actually like pissed that we don't have verification on Twitter. Do you remember the process you went through when you were trying to get verified?
I don't. I knew it did take a while to get verified, though.
And especially, dude, because I think when I applied for it, we were like an egg profile picture account with like no tweets and like 2 followers or something. So I think that might also play a role. Do you use Twitter on desktop?
I do.
I never do that. Because can't you schedule tweets for that and stuff?
Schedule. I haven't tried that.
Yeah. I think I tried it once, and apparently if you go over the character limit, I tried like putting a write-up in there, and apparently if you go over the character limit, then like it just like doesn't send. So I like had like all these like tweets, and I woke up. I think I like woke up like super fucking late. I was just being lazy or something, and like none of my things were posted. They were all just like gone from my drafts too. I was like, oh my gosh, I'd like redo all that shit. Hey, if you guys are listening right now, if you guys have any questions about like literally anything, but probably specifically like prop related, it can be from like, doesn't even have to be about the 2 games or about a breakdown. But if you guys have any like questions, specifically props, especially, just make sure to comment. And I'm about to be a little beggar right now. Can you guys like please like the like button and subscribe and all that good stuff? It just helps us grow, helps us get a little bit of recognition and all that. So if you guys do that, that would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, just make sure to comment stuff. So if you guys didn't know, this is a new podcast / streaming thing. Me and JJ are the only people who do NFL. The kangaroo dude, Ozbets, he don't know anything about NFL. He just sticks to basketball. And Sammy, he's an American, so I don't know why he doesn't bet on NFL. So yeah, just me and JJ here, and we'll be doing this. This is a special one just because it's week 1, but we'll usually just be doing Friday prop shows and stuff like that. And okay, I'm about to start this right now because we're still going to do a podcast, and I want to be able to cut this part out. So here we go. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to, I was going to say welcome back, but welcome to the first podcast of Straight Betting. We are a betting little media thing. I don't even know how to describe it, but we talk about betting, and we are going to post it and stream it. So we got 4 people. Myself, Tyven, props from Prime, little corny Twitter handle that I'm probably gonna switch soon. But we also got here right now JJ, J Sleeper Stats. JJ, how we doing today?
Doing pretty good. It's hot outside, but it's nice to be inside right now with the AC going.
Yeah, dude, it's cooking here too, and I live in the Midwest, and I'm ready for it to cool down because that
Yeah, I
just gives
can't
off
wait for
those like
October.
yeah, it's just like peak like football cozy vibes. Not to be like weird or nothing, but like you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, but so it's me and JJ are doing the NFL shows. Liam, Osbets, Sammy, they'll be on during NBA shows and stuff like that. So yeah, this is our first time doing this, and hopefully it goes well. I mean, me and JJ, we've done a podcast before together,
yeah.
so it should go pretty good. But I might screw some things up. I might put some weird banners up every once in a while and stuff like that. But we're just gonna go with it. All right. So while you guys are here, football is fucking here. I'm excited as shit. JJ, how are you feeling about football? Like, what's your like? How much are you shaking on a scale of 1 through 10 right now?
Shaking like a fiend. I'm ready.
I'm itching, dude. I'm going through withdrawals. I've been going through withdrawals for like 8 months or whatever it's been. Dude, I think that like week one is just so like awesome, dude. Like I did as
Yeah,
when I wake up Sunday morning, like it's like I go to bed
it's
and
like
I just
Christmas.
it is like Christmas. I just like I can't even sleep. Like wake up, hit the lab, oh my gosh, they released Antonio Gibson's receptions. Oh shit. I'm gonna ladder it. But all right. Breaking down the first game. We're doing KC versus the Ravens. The game is in Kansas City. Let's take a look at the spread here. It is -3 for Kansas City, -150 on the money line, over under of 46.5. And how we're going to break this down is we're going to start with player usage breakdown. I'll do the Chiefs. JJ is going to do the Ravens. And throw some tidbits in there and to give you guys some official props / leans for it. And yeah, and then we'll go over to the Packers and the Eagles game, which we have a Friday game in Brazil, which I can't remember that happening ever, but I'll take it. Football on Friday. All right, starting off with the player usage breakdown for Kansas City. Starting with the running backs, Pacheco. And JJ, feel free to add on to my stuff as I go, like position by position.
Yep.
So starting with the running backs, Pacheco, I think he's going to be like one of the bigger workhorses on the ground in terms of rushing attempts for the team. Pirine, who recently got signed, I saw some reports on him, which is a little bit surprising in my opinion, but maybe not because he's a veteran, that they're ready to put him in as like the third down guy, the 2-minute drill guy, the Jerick McKinnon role that we all know and remember. They're ready to put him in there in week one, which, I kind of thought it might have taken him at least like a week or two to get settled in. But that's definitely interesting because then Pacheco probably doesn't do much in the receiving game outside of maybe some screens if he's not getting those snaps. Pirine on the ground, I really like. I'm a Broncos fan. This dude had like 2 carries a game, even though he was playing a shit ton of snaps. I don't think he's really going to impact much on the ground at all. But yeah, and also looking back at that McKinnon role, I mean, he would never really run the ball except for like random third down draws and stuff like that. So they also have a dude named Carson Steele. He's listed as a running back, fullback. I believe he was an undrafted free agent. I mean, I don't expect more than 1 or 2 touches at most for him. I could be wrong there, but JJ, your thoughts on the Kansas City Chiefs running back usage? Think got anything to add on to that?
I think when it comes to Carson, I think it's probably gonna be later in the season. We'll like see his work ramp up, but for right now, it's just gonna be Pirine and Pacheco.
Okay, you think you agree with like the Pacheco
Oh yeah,
workhorse when it comes on the ground, and then McKinnon roll
yeah.
stuff?
He's gonna be the early down back, and then Pirine the passing down back. It's pretty
Okay,
much how I see it.
cool. So quick touching on that, Pacheco's receiving prop is at 2.5, and his yards are at around 14.5. Do you think that's probably set right, or do you think that might even be a little bit too high?
I think it's set right because I think they're very curious on how that usage is going to come out and play out and all that. But I mean, 14. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of underneath passing. A lot of these teams, both teams, when they're in that championship game, that kept everything underneath. They don't want any explosive plays going on. They always play each other tough. So I think keeping everything underneath, like those 2 catches, maybe 3 catches, it's going to be right around there probably for him, even on those early downs.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that like from a betting standpoint, when it comes to Pacheco on through the air, I think that like it's probably set right, stay away. So what about what would it take for you to take a P Ryan over? Like, are you buying that, or is that also a stay away? Like, what if he's at like 8.5 receiving yards or something like that? Is that
8.5? I'd take it. I ain't
take
gonna
it?
lie.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I think I would
especially
too.
if we feel like he's gonna get the receiving work, he's got to take it because he
I
is
would.
very good in that role.
Oh, he is good. No, he actually is really good. Like I said, I'm a
If you want to
Broncos
think
fan.
about it, I'm pretty sure McKinnon last year was always around 16 to 20 receiving yards week to week. So I mean, if there's like an 8.5 or even 10.5, like probably gotta take that.
Yeah, yeah. And we think like what you said about that too. Teams just like don't want Mahomes getting explosive plays on them. So underneath stuff will literally always be there. All right, moving on to the wide receivers. So I've talked about this on my in my prime podcast, but the preseason usage was literally Justin Watson, Rashi Rice, and Xavier Worthy. They were all full-time receivers. They were all like there was very little receivers getting worked in. And I saw a report from a PFF guy that Andy Reid's preseason usage is typically sticky, and it also kind of like just makes sense. I mean, like why like we saw how bad their secondary receivers were last year, right? Like I mean, I just don't see the point of really playing them much at all. So as of right now, I am buying that Rice is going to be full time, Watson's going to be full time until Hollywood comes back, and Worthy. I saw a report on Worthy that Andy Reid wants to ease him in a little bit, and he took a sweet ass time with Rashi Rice last year, easing him in. So I think
Yeah.
that Worthy might not really be a full time guy, but he'll play a lot, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Watson and Rice full time guys. Other guys I think are interesting if they'll even run more than like 5 routes. Your thoughts on that?
No, I definitely agree with all that because I mean, being a rookie, and that I believe I've seen a report saying they kind of want to ease him in, but they know he can make a big impact. So it's anyone's guess how much he'll actually play week 1, but I would lean towards he's going to play more than what we kind of expect, considering like if we look at last year's rotations. But this is the best receiving room they've had in a long time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I agree with that too. I mean, the receiving room last year, I mean, that shit was just a joke. Like, I mean, the Chiefs offense legitimately looked like average in the regular season. So I think they're done like forcing Sky Moore and like McCole Hardman onto the field and shit like that. So
And they finally have a deep threat that can actually catch a pass. So
yeah,
that's always a plus.
yeah. All right. Moving on to the tight ends. I mean, it's not really too complicated. Kelsey, guys, remember Kelsey in the regular season last year? He was not a full time. I mean, he was obviously like a starter, but he wasn't like a 90% rel participation guy. He's old. Kansas City pretty much knows that they're gonna. I mean, they know that they're gonna make the playoffs, right? All they're worried about is keeping Kelsey healthy for the Super Bowl. And I know there's been reports saying he's going to be limited again this year. And honestly, he's a year older. So I think he was around 73% rel participation last year. I'd maybe even expected him to dip to like that 70% this year. And then Noah Gray, I think he was at like 45% last year. Probably he stays around there as well. I don't think there's too much to say on the tight ends, but just people being overly optimistic on Kelsey, I think just stay clear that like he really might not be on the field as much as we think. So I just wanted to say that.
I
All
definitely
right.
agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, he's old as shit, dude. Kansas City, they're gonna just walk to the playoffs. They're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Actually we'll save the prop leans for that. Okay, so
Yeah, I
you're
can go through
going.
the Baltimore.
Yep. You're breaking down Baltimore.
Yeah. So Baltimore, we can start with the receivers. That I believe the receivers, the 3 main receivers, is going to be pretty much set in stone. You're going to have Nelson Aguilar, Zay Flowers, and Rashad Bateman. Bateman, this is probably the healthiest we've ever seen him, which is going to be good. He should be playing that X role. Flowers didn't, if I remember correctly, looking at the stats, he wasn't as good as the X receiver. So he'll probably be that flanker or the Y, or I mean the Z, sorry. And then probably Nelson Aguilar will flip between the slot and that Z spot with Zay Flowers. Thing about me, Flowers should be the main guy having all the receiving work as far as the receivers are concerned. OBJ is no longer there because I bring up OBJ because when you look at weeks 2 through 11 last year, when Mark Andrews was healthy, Flowers was still behind Mark Andrews in terms of targets per route run and all that sort of stuff. So was it the championship game last year in the AFC? Flowers did have a 20% target per route run and an 11-yard ADOT, which is average depth of target for those who don't know. That was with Mark Andrews still being a little bit hurt. He only had 11 routes run, but he did get 2 targets on those 11 routes. So that's why we want to look at more like that sample size within the weeks 2 through 11. And the Chiefs, they like to run that cover 2. And it's usually cover 1, cover 2, and cover 4. But cover 2, they ran at the second highest rate in the league, I believe. So looking at that, Flowers only had a 15% target share with all those 3 coverages combined. But when you look at Mark Andrews, it was 22% target per route run. So clearly Andrews is still going to be the bigger target to look forward to, especially when it's cover 2. Everything's going to be underneath. They want Zay Flowers to run more intermediate to deep routes because that's really where he shined. I know he started off the season last year running a lot of like screen passes, but he's not just a screen pass kind of guy. So looking at the tight ends specifically now, they want to run more 12 personnel. And so that means going to be a lot more Isaiah Likely on the field. So I'm very curious to see tomorrow night how that actually pans out with their usage between Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely in the passing game, because they are both very good receiving tight ends. What is your input on all this?
Yeah, dude, I think that was the main thing I was thinking about is what you touched on last. The 12 personnel with Andrews and Likely. I mean, I feel like Likely's just too good to leave off the field. And also, like, you bring Derrick Henry in. I know, like, the hype around the Ravens last year was like, oh, Todd Monken, spread offense, like all that stuff, dude. But like Derrick Henry, like, needs to kind of run the ball from the pistol or the shot or under center, and that would to me just would be like more 12 personnel. Couple that with Likely. I kind of think that Aguilar actually might be the odd man out. And if I'm going to put this up on the banner, monotone. He said, according to Fantasy Points new stat, Rashad Bateman is a top 10 ass receiver, but ass means average separation score. And I was actually about to ask you about that. Are you buying the Bateman hype this year? Because they've been beating his drum a lot, and I feel like
I liked him as a prospect coming out of college. I feel like he does produce when he is healthy, but he's just never healthy. That's the problem. So we don't really get to see that.
But that means there could maybe be value betting on him in week 1. And you mentioned Odell leaving, and I actually think that's like pretty important because Odell, say what you want about Odell, I think that when he's on the field, he's like a pretty good receiver. Like, he'll get targets. Like, you kind of have to target him just because his name is Odell Beckham, and like he might get fucking pissed if he doesn't at all.
Yeah. You know, actually, going back to Odell, when I was looking at cover 1, 2, and 4, which is the main coverages the Chiefs ran last year, OBJ had the highest targets per route run at 30%, which is kind of interesting. And that was between weeks 2 and 11 still when Andrews was healthy.
Okay. Well, that's actually a good transition point. Actually, well, no, have you done tight ends yet?
Or? I did do tight ends. We just talked about that with the 12 personnel.
Okay.
For those that don't know what 12 personnel is, it's when there's 2 tight ends on the field.
Yep. Honestly, I probably didn't even know what that was until I started like listening to some podcasts like this summer about like people talking about stuff like that. So I can't even really blame them. All right. Time to get into a fun stat, or it's like a fun defense or matchup stat that is relevant to this. So JJ, I'm gonna go first, and I know your dorky ass, your little stat, J sleeper stat. You're gonna love this shit. So my stat is so KC, they ran 2 high safety looks the most in the NFL last year at 67.8%. Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, he's still there, obviously. So like should expect that to be pretty sticky. Mark Andrews versus 2 high safety looks last year, 31% targets per route ran rate, 3.65 yards per route ran, which was like, I think it was like literally the highest in the league out of like qualifiers. Like he was awesome against 2 high looks. Zay Flowers against 2 high safety looks, 18% targets per route ran and 1.12 yards per route ran. So like there is a big discrepancy in like efficiency against 2 high safety looks between Andrews and Flowers, and I want to get your thoughts on that.
I think it sounds about right, just for the simple fact that this is the lowest A. Mark Andrews has ever had. So he has been getting more targeted there in that aspect, as far as like the underneath coverages and routes that he's able to run now. And it's kind of like what I talked about earlier. They want Zay Flowers to run deeper routes, but 2 high safety, you're going to take away the deep route. So I mean, everything underneath going to Andrews.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Oh shit, that might be that's definitely a very strong lean right now, guys. That's a very strong lean right now. Mark Andrews over, Zay Flowers under. I'm a fucking pussy, but I'm just gonna be completely honest. I'm a fucking pussy when it comes to like taking unders, dude. I'm like, oh shit, like everything says I should take it, but like, fuck, what if he just catches a long pass? Like that's always like my thought. So I'm like, you know me. I'm gonna end up probably playing the Andrews over, but. All right, JJ, your fun defensive stat for this game or matchup stat or anything.
I would say matchup, because we talked about you said 2 high safety.
Yeah.
But when we go into like defensive scheme, I would say the Chiefs love their like nickel coverage with Spagnuolo, and who's playing the nickel was Ladarius Sneed, who is gone now, which could open it up for the slot, but it really doesn't now because Trent McDuffie is moving to the slot, and he was one of their top corners last year and one of the top corners in the league. So thinking that slot corner or the slot receiver is just going to make it easy for them, it's really not. I would say.
Like, does anyone have like a good matchup now that is like the new corners that's getting slotted in outside? Is like, are they good or?
That I'm not exactly sure. I was still like looking into that, but I would say the matchup to avoid would be the person in the slot, which is going to be a mix between Aguilar and Flowers. And we're already talking about Flowers under before the 2 high safety looks. But I believe I want to throw in there during that championship game, they did run a lot of 1 high safety.
Damn, like on purpose. Yeah, I mean, I was checking that shit and I saw Flowers had like, I think Flowers literally went for over 100 yards.
Yeah, he had 115. I think like 8 receptions, I believe.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, sometimes data just like plays mind games with you. That's why you got to be a square like me sometimes. Just be like over.
Yeah.
So before we give out some either official props or leans, we do have a question from Vincent. And sorry, Vincent, I apologize because you said this a long time ago, and like I hope you're still here. But thoughts on Davante Adams this weekend? I know why you're asking this, and I think it's because of like the Davante Adams was on like a podcast because like the Raiders were talking shit or something. I I get narratives for sure, but the thing is, Davante Adams like it's like the quarterback still has to throw him good passes, and like is he gonna run his routes like harder because they were like talking shit? Like I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. From a game theory perspective, like the Chargers are gonna run the shit out of the ball this year. And the Raiders also under Antonio Pierce and Luke Getsy are going to run the shit out of the ball this year. So that's just like kind of a bad environment for overs, especially in the passing game. Like plays are going to be down. stuff like that. It could be like a really boring game. And so Devontae Adams, I mean, I don't know. I think JJ, you got to give some more input from like data and stuff. I'm not really. He wasn't really that good last year either. I don't know. I'm really not too high on Devontae Adams this year.
Yeah, I'm not too high either. I like Gardner Minshew as a backup, but as a full season starting quarterback, I'm not sold on him there. But he's always good for like a good like quick couple games. We've always seen that. But based on what I was seeing in preseason, like I'm just not impressed with some of the throws he's making. Maybe he's just rusty. Maybe it's just like a Baker Mayfield thing when he was just missing wide open passes in practice and all that, and he just pops off. It could be that, but he really doesn't perform well under pressure. And I think Chargers are probably gonna send some pressure at them. Actually, let me look at this stat because I seen something I liked.
Mac and Bosa. I mean, that's like just to add on to that pressure point. I mean, dude, if there's the Chargers have like one really good thing going for them on defense, it's Mac and Bosa. And I think that Bosa's like hurt already, like shocker,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure like he's like playing through it. So
through preseason, the Chargers on pass plays were blitzing like 42% of the time, which looks like about fourth highest or so. So within top 5 range. And I don't think that's going to be good for Gardner Minshew. I mean, they're probably going to have some design plays for Devontae Adams, but it's probably going to be a lot of like catches, but a lot of low yardage, unless he just gets yak.
Mm-hmm. And Brock Bowers is now in the offense. I think he's going to be a stud. Jacoby Myers is still very solid. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to talk you off it, but yeah,
it's a wait and see right now. We have to at least, it's one of those things you have to wait and see week 1 and see like, all right, what kind of usage, what kind of plays they run on one, because at the end of the day, both teams want to run the ball. And with the new out of bounds rule change and all that, like the clock definitely speeds up. A lot of people noticed that. Well, I'm not sure if people actually noticed it last year, but they did notice the games were going by a little bit faster. And that was one of the changes that the NFL made. So that's why I like a lot of like primetime games that were just going under their point totals.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that from last year. That was crazy. That was a crazy streak. But all right,
Yeah.
JJ. You ready? Do you have an official prop or a very strong lean for Kansas City, Baltimore that you want to give out?
I do. My official play that I haven't released yet, but I'm giving it out right here is Justice
Tune in,
Hill.
baby.
Justice Hill over 9.5 receiving yards, which last time I checked was -110 on DraftKings. Like I said, well, I don't think we went over the running backs, but the two main running backs are going to be Derrick Henry and Justice Hill. The third running back they have on their official roster right now, as far as what they posted within the last couple of days, is Rasheen Ali. I don't think he's going to get much usage. If he even does play, he might just spell one of them for like a play or two here and there, but that's about it. But Derrick Henry, he's never been a receiving back. And with his age, they want to keep him fresh throughout the season. I think he's just going to get the early down work, kind of like previous years when he was with Tennessee. And Justice Hill, he's always been one of those guys that can just do well receiving the ball. He's pretty shifty. He has that little burst that can get him there. In that championship game, he did have 4 receptions on 7 targets for 34 yards. And that was a 30% target per route run for him. I think keeping everything underneath, because we talked about the cover two. Cover two, typically, you want to throw to your running backs. Now, cover 4, it's also going to keep things underneath, but typically that's going to be for tight ends. But like I said, keeping everything underneath is still going to lean towards running backs as well. So that's why I lean towards him, Justice Hill, as an official play.
JJ, I really like that, man. I mean, dude, like Derrick Henry is not going to run routes. Like, I mean, yeah, he'll be on the field for first and second downs and stuff like that. He's going to get, I mean, Justice Hill is going to have a big role in the receiving game. Like 2-minute drills, third down, literally like the Chiefs could easily, like, it's the Chiefs, right? Like would anyone be surprised if they're like up 2 scores like in the third, fourth quarter and they have to go pretty pass heavy? Yeah, I mean, like, I think from a percentage base, like Hill will be around like a 65% route participation. I mean, how many Lamar Jackson dropbacks is that? Like, probably have like 35, 36, something like that. I mean, dude, if you're going to give him like 24 routes, like ran, like, and a prop under 10, and then with like the coverage scheme they run and stuff like that, I really like that one. I mean, I think that Justice Hill is just slept on. Like, people, just because Derrick Henry's there, people think that he's not going to exist anymore, and that's going to be far from the case. So I like that one a lot.
In that championship game, he did run 23 routes. So I could expect between 18 to 23 again, somewhere around there. So as long as I think he could get this in one catch, but probably like, I would say like 2 receptions, he could get there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, if there's like a 1.5 reception line out there too, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. Both of them I think would be really good looks. All right, guys. You guys are about to shit on me. I get it. I'm about to give you guys like the most disgusting prop maybe of all time, and especially like the most disgusting prop for week 1. I'm just quick checking it out right now. Justin Watson, who we talked about earlier. Yeah, he might kind of suck. Like, he's not great, whatever. But his longest reception prop is at 11.5. And I gave out a prop already. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I actually kind of think that Justin Watson has a really good chance of playing almost every single snap because they don't have another outside receiver. Like, I'm pretty sure Justin Ross is on the practice squad. Like, their backup receivers are Juju, Hardman, Sky Moore. Those are all slot receivers. Like, and they're all small too. And then you got Rashee Rice. He'll play a bit on the outside, stuff like that. But he's not a big body outside receiver. Same with Xavier Worthy. Obviously, the dude's like 150 pounds. So Justin Watson is like trusted. He's a very trusted guy. Like, how many times have you been like, bro, why the fuck is Justin Watson on the field? Like, he doesn't really do shit, but he's always out there. And like, honestly, dude, if he's gonna play like 30 plus dropbacks, and honestly, I think 30 is being a little bit low. Mahomes passing attempts at like 37.5. If he's gonna play 30 plus dropbacks, he's only gonna run routes downfield. So like, if he gets a catch, like, it's a very, very high probability that it's 12 plus yards. It's probably like 15 to 20 or something like that. So if he's gonna run that many routes, he's probably gonna get like 3 targets. He just has to really catch like 1 ball. This is a very strong lean. Like I said, guys, we talked about Mark Andrews, we talked about Zay Flowers, and this is my 3rd lean in there. One of these will be a play, but it's so fucking gross that I just like, I know like it's gonna lose, even though like I don't know it's gonna lose, but I just don't want to lose a prop like that, like on Justin Watson. But it's a very, very, very strong lean. Justin Watson, longest reception over 11.5 yards.
I'm not gonna lie, it is nasty, but the usage should be there as far as the snaps is concerned. We already talked about their depth. The main 3, he's one of them. They should get the majority of the snaps. I don't really see any backups that's gonna take those deep routes from him. Yeah, it's nasty, but I think it's gonna work.
Dude, it's pretty analytically sound, but and then when you look back and he has 2 targets and 35 routes ran and 0 catches, you're gonna be like, of course. But yeah, so that's it for this first game. We spent a shit ton of time, dude. I texted JJ before this. I'm like, yeah, this will be like 30 minutes. I think we're at like 33 minutes right now already.
We are.
All right, let's try to do the second game.
On the next one.
What's up? Yeah,
we can go through quicker on the next one.
Yeah, a little bit quicker, dude. The thing, me and you are just me especially, but me and you are kind of just like blabbers. Like, we start talking about some shit, like what I'm doing right now. But
it was my problem last year too. So,
all right. So I'm gonna start off with Packer player usage, and let me quick open up my book. Packer player usage. So running backs, guys, there's a wide perception right now that Josh Jacobs is going to be a workhorse, and I strongly, strongly disagree with that. Matt LaFleur is the coach. It's week 1. It's not a playoff game. Matt LaFleur literally had Deion Lewis and Derrick Henry in a split backfield. He's literally never had a workhorse running back, and I know Jacobs is a workhorse. He's capable of doing it. And Dillon's out, and Marshawn Lloyd's hurt. But if like Marshawn Lloyd's out, then Emmanuel Wilson, who's a 3rd string guy right now, is just going to get carries too. So that's my take on that. From wide receivers, expect the pecking order from a snap perspective to be Romeo Dubs, probably Christian Watson, Jaden Reed tied for 2 and 3. Dontavion Wicks will like rotate in outside with Watson and Dubs. And then I think Bo Melton, who proved himself to be a pretty good receiver as the wide receiver 5, will also see some snaps. So very competitive there. Tight end room, I think there's a wide perception that Luke Musgrave is clear-cut tight end 1. I also disagree with that. They also had a really good rookie last year named Tucker Kraft, and Tucker Kraft is really good. Has had some really good camp news from him, and Musgrave not so much. So I actually think that the tight end room is going to be 50-50 as well. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, that sounds pretty cut and dry to me. It's nothing really crazy with these offenses other than like maybe the Packers receivers. That's about it because how much they rotate.
What do you feel about the running back? Are you on Jacobs is going to be a workhorse, or are you on LaFleur's going to rotate?
I don't believe he'll be a workhorse considering like the Aaron Jones thing the last couple of years with AJ Dillon and all that. He might be this week because of all the injuries, but outside of that, I still think they're still gonna like try and rotate running backs through.
Yeah,
because who do they have left that's not hurt?
Yeah, dude, I can see Twitter right now, bro. Like Emmanuel Wilson's gonna be like getting a drive to himself, and like fucking dudes are gonna be like, bro, what the fuck? Put Josh Jacobs.
Oh yeah, in. Especially fantasy owners are gonna be pissed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but that's also just like one last thing I do want to add. If Marshawn Lloyd's out, even if Marshawn Lloyd's in, I don't think he's gonna play much. He's missed camp for so long, and he's still dealing with a hamstring. But if Emmanuel Wilson is in, and Lloyd is out, and Emmanuel Wilson has like a ridiculously low line, I just think he's gonna play more than the market's gonna imply that he's gonna play. So just keep an eye out for that. Also, Jaden Reed is only gonna play out of the slot. So I mean, you guys probably know that, but. All right, JJ, your take on the Eagles usage.
All right, Eagles usage, looking at the running backs, should be cut and dry. It's probably going to be a whole lot of Saquon Barkley, but I'm sure they will mix in Kenneth Gainwell. He is a good change of pace back that can come in and give him a breather, but still to be seen what happens there. But expect Kenneth Gainwell to get some like receiving work as well on those third downs and not just Barkley, just a complete workhorse. The NFL now, this day and age, there's not really a true like workhorse running back anymore. It's just that day and age is gone. As far as the receivers, they brought in Jahan Dotson after he got traded, was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. That should be a huge piece to their offense right there because Devontae Smith plays a lot better in the slot and Jahan Dotson plays better on the outside. And when Jahan Dotson was with the Commanders, they wanted to play the slot. So I think this is a perfect match, like a match for them as far as like their chemistry is concerned, as far as like what they want for their offense. Obviously, you got AJ Brown. He's AJ Brown. What can you say about him? He's going to do what he does. And then you got Dallas Goedert, who's should be the main guy. He's always going to be hurt here and there. Should be fine right now, but their backup is Grant Calcaterra. I haven't looked too much into him, but knowing the Eagles offensive coordinator and Kellen Moore, it's going to be a lot of 11 personnel, which is usually going to be one tight end, 3 receivers, 1 running back. So expect a lot of 11 personnel. Shouldn't have to worry about their backup tight end. So Dallas Goedert's going to be the main guy as far as tight ends. You want to talk about stats?
Hold up. I just want a quick comment on your take real quick. On the Saquon thing, I'll say one of my very strong leans right now. I really like Barkley under 2.5 receptions. Like you said, I think like Gainwell is like one of those like coaches. Like, I don't want to like disrespect him and say like a coach's pet, but like he kind of seems like he's a guy that the coaches
like him.
Yeah, coaches like him. Yeah, coaches like him. And he's a pass catching back. And also they drafted Will Shipley. I probably wouldn't think Will Shipley plays, but if he does play, he's going to be playing in the passing game too. So, and then couple that with like Hurts.
He doesn't
The
throw to the
running
running
quarterback,
backs.
yeah, doesn't really throw to running backs a ton. The only way I think that Barkley gets over 2.5 receptions is like from screen passes, but at the same time, like they probably do want to get their new weapon the ball in space. So I probably would
Yeah.
expect them to throw him 1 or 2 screen passes, and then it kind of gets dicey. But yeah, I agree with everything else you said, and I'll give out an official play that's related to something you said in a little bit. But let's do the fun stat. My fun stat's actually not fun at all. It kind of fucking sucks. But I wrote that Joe Barry, he was the defensive coordinator for the Packers last year. All the Packers fans hated him. They thought he did like a really bad job, and obviously he probably did since he got fired. And same thing with Philly, who I forget his name. I think Matt Patricia was in there for a little bit, but it was also a guy
Mm-hmm.
named I forget his name, man.
The Eagles defense coordinator.
Yep, Sean Desau. Sean Desau.
Yeah,
Sean Desau.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah.
Yeah, he also got fired too. So I kind of say if you're gonna try to get analytical, I can't pronounce that word, but if you're trying to get
Analytical.
if you're trying to get in depth with it, I probably wouldn't do it for this game just because there's a lot of change. So that's my stat that is fun, quote unquote. All right, what's yours, JJ?
All right, for me, the Packers last year played the most cover 3 in the league. I believe it was the most, either that or it's going to be second most. And the main Eagles target was AJ Brown. Last year, just against cover 3, he had a 27% targets per route run and 2.9 yards per route run. The second highest coverage they ran was cover 1. And when you combine cover 1 and cover 3, AJ Brown had a ridiculous team high 37% targets per route run and 3.9 yards per route run. But with Kellen Moore, he likes to throw to his slot receivers, and the Packers did allow the 11th most fantasy points per game to slot receivers. So they were getting targeted.
Yeah,
Now
I
it
like
comes
to hear
down
that.
to Jair Alexander. Jair typically stays on one side of the field, or sometimes he might shadow receiver. It depends on the receiver, like a DK Metcalf. So he could shadow AJ Brown, but he doesn't play in the slot at all. So it could be a Devontae Smith game as well.
Hey,
But
that's
both
all
should
I'm
get
hearing.
targeted a lot.
Yeah, that's all I'm hearing. All I'm hearing is Smitty season, baby. And
Yep.
parlaying that, my official play, I did play this. The line moved a little bit, but I still really like it here. Devontae Smith over 59.5 receiving yards, minus 114 at FanDuel. Official play right here. Pretty much what everything JJ just said, man. I'm just so excited to see him in this slot role. His targets per route ran are ridiculous. This is a great game environment. I mean, you got two really good offenses going at it. And I just know that I want to be high on Devontae Smith at the start of the year because we're going to be seeing 85.5 receiving yard props for Smitty in a few weeks. Maybe I'm overstating a little bit, but yeah, Devontae Smith in the slot, good game environment. Kellen Moore, his system, they're going to play with so much pace. It's going to be really fun. I think that they're going to be pretty pass heavy. And yeah, I'm just all in on Devontae Smith this year. So that is one of my official plays.
That play is so good. It's also my official play, to be honest.
Yes,
Everything
sir.
you just
Little
said.
collab. Little collab.
But to add something to it, or like just to the props, I have the lean, since you already covered that. My lean right now is gonna be Dallas Goedert under 38.5 receiving yards. Because if we look at cover 3 and cover 1, which is what the Packers mainly ran last year, Dallas Goedert had only 18% targets per route run and 1.2 yards per route run with a 6.9 ADOT. So it's going to be hard to rack up a lot of yards, but it's also like the targets are pretty down as well. If you look at just target share in general, he's at 16.9%. Devontae Smith is at 23.4%. And then, of course, he's got A.J. Brown just being A.J. Brown at 37.7%. So he's going to have to do he's probably going to get his screen passes, which is usually what brings his ADOT down. But I think with cover 3, you can always just throw to your primary receivers. Plus, with cover 1, you want to throw to your X receivers. So should be A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith kind of game.
Yep. and Saquon Barkley's in town too. So that
Yeah.
could, that's just like the best running back that they've had in a while. So I mean, they'll probably give him a little bit more than what's his name, DeAndre Swift last year. So
Yeah.
all right, let's see. Sneaky. I think is that everything that we've done?
I think so.
I think so. Do you have any more official props or leans for this one? I actually have one more.
I do not.
You don't?
Not at the
Okay.
moment, at least.
I kind of have two leans. They're both unders, and like I said, I'm a pussy, and like I really struggle to fully get around to play unders. But I do kind of want to fade, and this is also ridiculously juicy. You need to like pair it with Bengals money line or something. But Christian Watson under 3.5 receptions is pretty intriguing to me. I really don't think. I think Wicks, he's too talented to not at least take away stuff from Watson on that. And honestly, there's just so much target competition. Like Jaden Reed on a per route basis is probably going to be the number one option. Two really good tight ends, like I mentioned, two really solid tight ends at least. Romeo Dubs, solid too. And Watson, I just like taking under reception guys on people who I know are basically going to get most of their targets from deep balls. So
he's such an explosive player. Like it's just hard to take an under on his receiving yards. That's why it's a lot better to take his receptions.
Yeah, like I said, guys, this is super juiced, and it's just a lean. But then also Luke Musgrave's at 2.5 receptions, and like I said, man, I just think that he's like a split tight end. He's like not a tight end one. He's not a backup, but he's a split. And 2.5 just blindly feels a little bit high for a guy who might only get like 3 targets or so. So I don't know. Luke Musgrave, I'm probably not good. I'm way more interested in the Watson one, but the juice is just the only issue there. But yep, those are the last leans for me at least. All right, that should be it.
That's it.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I know we were kind of blabbing our asses off, but it was fun, man. It was fun. Hopefully you guys got some insight from this. And then JJ, we're gonna be live. What time again? 3:30, right?
Yeah, 3:30 Eastern on Friday.
3:30 Eastern on Friday. That'll probably be a little bit more fun, man. Like unless you really like to get into the nitty gritty stuff, like of game breakdowns and stuff. This on Friday. I'll actually tell you guys the schedule right now. We're just going prop. Sneaky lines that we're waiting to come out, and then we're gonna do some alt line stuff too. So that will be a little bit more fun, I guess, in this. But all right, appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure to sub to this YouTube channel, Straight Betting. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Straight Betting. Make sure to, I don't know, give a good review on this podcast if you want to, all that good stuff. All right, JJ, appreciate you. This was fun, and that will do it. Peace out.